Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Stepmoms Without Children. I hope you love this episode because it was so cute. This is my friend Anna. She has a new business called Vet Tech Anna. If you're looking for her on social media, her Instagram and Facebook are both Vet Tech Anna, and her website is vettechanna.com. She is trying to support people who are maybe new pet parents or old pet parents going to the vet. It can be a scary time, which 100% it is. I don't know how to go to a doctor for my dog. Hello. But she's there to kind of ease the confusion and anxiety with going to the vet. She has worked in vet offices for a really long time, and she kind of has the technical side of it, but also just the customer service side of it. So she is there to support people who are going to the vet. We love this for her. She's also a single mom by choice. She did IVF to have her beautiful baby boy, and she gives us the things that maybe we didn't all know about the IVF and like sperm donor process. She's a cool chick. Please enjoy my friend Anna. I did check out your website when I was doing some research, Anna. And the very last line on your website, I feel like this like ties it all together. And whoever wrote this, just bravo. If you ever felt like you need something more in order to feel confident and comfortable about going into the vet, I would love to hear about it from you. We love that for you. We love a support system. And so tell us about what your mission is with Vet Tech Anna.
So I've been a vet tech for over 20 years and worked in lots of places. And I feel like there was a reason why I bounced from clinic to clinic and experienced all these things, because I have a huge database basically of experiences and people and professionals and circumstances. And when I had my son and I needed to be a client and not be on the other side of the medical system, I thought,
Right.
yes, animals versus kids are a little different, but I had that experience for the first time where I wasn't taking my pet to the vet and knew everybody and was comfortable.
Right.
And I thought, oh my gosh. And I didn't really click until I met a doctor who was so supportive of me. I hadn't even realized how anxious and nervous and unsure and just, not confident I was until she started talking to me and telling me I was doing a great job. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard that before.
Am I?
So it was really, really great. And I thought, I think pet owners need this too. And I think over the last 4 years, we've had such a big change in our industry. A lot of people or a lot of clinics are understaffed. And people are getting pets.
Sure.
So many more people have pets. So the ratios of support have really actually changed dramatically. And so now more than ever, I feel that pet owners need help pet owning. And, we throw people into being a parent or a step parent without any warning or training or support. And just we do the same thing with pet owners. We expect a lot out of them without really them having the resources and the support that they would need to navigate it without having a mental breakdown sometimes. So
100%. So in my previous relationship, we had an English bulldog. And so, I don't know, I thought it was just a cute dog. And then I learned that they're expensive as hell. So, like, I didn't know that. Like, I just wanted a bulldog. And that's, like, all the people that, like, live, like, everywhere, really, they just want a husky. They don't, like, know what it means to have a husky. And so when I get to the veterinarian, which I believe was inside of a PetSmart, I forget what they're called, but I felt so much judgment. I remember, hold on, let me back up. So before we started going to PetSmart, which was the Banfield Hospital, we went to a local one in where we lived in Lowell, Massachusetts. And I remember they were like, because we got it from a breeder, of course, and like, even like, it wasn't even the breeder. It was like a lady who alleged that like her friend bred these down south, and like now she had them and she was trying to sell them for her friend. I know now that was a lie. I know that. And so we, paid a lot of money for this dog. And so we go to the vet because we're supposed to. We just got this dog. He's like 11 weeks old. And the judgment. Did he have his shots? Did you get papers about it? Do you have the ma'am? I don't know. I'm 21 years old. I don't know the words that you're saying. You know what I mean? My parents took care of all of this stuff with our dogs growing up. I don't know the words, and I just remember, like, it was so much judgment. We stopped going there, and then we went to the one inside PetSmart in New Hampshire. But so, yeah, all of the things that you said about, like, you just have to, like, know how to be a pet parent. I mean, if you're involved enough as a teenager and you're growing up with your okay, fine. I wasn't. I was just a girl who wanted a bulldog. So, spoiler alert to anybody who wants to have a bulldog or a French bulldog or a pug.
Any
That
squishy faced breed, really.
just wipe my dog. No, you have to like clean their paws and clean their this part. If they're licking their paws, they're probably allergic to something, especially if they're like allegedly purebred. Like it's so much. And then the folds, and then the eyes, and then the redness. I don't know how to do this. I'm 21 years old at the time. Even I mean, I had him for a long time after that. And so we're thankful for somebody who recognizes it, because the rude vet who maybe had a bad day and then took it out on us, or you know, the other vet techs that I did not enjoy at even at Banfield Hospital where I ended up. If you have a bad day and or your customer service just sucks, I'm not gonna want to go back. And so it's separating, like, feeling judged, somebody having terrible bedside manner or customer service, all of those things are hard. And so having a support, like you said, like finding the good doctor who's like, "Wow, you're doing a good job." That's everything.
And sometimes even just calling the clinic, and for the average person, that might still be stressful, but for the person who's got maybe more anxiety or previous bad experience,
Mhm.
that might be something that would take a whole day for them to get the nerve up. You don't know what to say.
Mhm.
You feel like you need to know the terminology, and
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of challenges.
Yeah. I don't even like calling to order a pizza. I'm not trying to call somebody and tell you what I want. Drive-through? No, thanks. Do you have an app I can order from? You can just send it out to me, or I can go in and fetch it. I'm not trying to talk to nobody on the phone. Mind you, my job is very heavy on the phone, and I'm very comfortable on the phone in a business setting because there's, like, a power thing. But me having to tell somebody what I need from them, or like, "Hi, my dog's, like, throwing up or something. Can you what do I do?" If I was on the other end, I'd be like, "Girl, what? Are you okay? Where's your mom?"
And you need people in the clinic where they will recognize that a lot of people feel this way and they walk you through it. But in a busy clinic and busy day, you're there for the pets. I think a lot of veterinary professionals don't go into the field realizing that dealing with the clients and humans
Mhm.
is actually a really big part of the job. It's not just
100%.
about the animals. And it's hard because really they're there to help our animals, and so they can't be good at everything and be there for everyone in the way that they need. So yes, there's clinics who definitely need help with the customer service aspect and all of those things you said. Very often I hear about the same types of examples that you were
Mhm.
giving. But on the other hand, there's also no one to help the clients in order to help the clinics do their jobs
Right.
and allow them to do their jobs. So there kind of has to be this middle person or a service, or I'm not sure, because I don't really feel like there's much out there. There
Mhm.
is with behavior specific, so dog training. You've got people that help you with your dog, but
Mhm.
really no one's there to help explain what goes on in the back of a clinic or how to
Mhm.
read an estimate. And a lot of people don't need that extra help or can kind of work their way through it. But I feel like I see so many people that would need that extra support
Mhm.
and would benefit from it. It would make things easier for everybody.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I worked in a store forever, and so, like, customer service is a big deal. And so I just imagine that when you're in vet school, they're not teaching you probably about customer service, or, like, maybe as a student, you don't, like, take that on, like, you don't think that it's that big of a deal. I remember, like, all the vet techs that were around. It was one of them I actually went to high school with, and she was one of my best friends, and we lost touch after graduation, and we reconnected with over the dog. But I was so thankful for that because I hated everybody else that was there. And so it's if you're hiring these young people, or even if they're not and they're just regular people, I don't know. I just feel like everybody who worked there was very young, like my age, 18 to 25. Like they didn't care of how their tone was. And so I teeter with this because when I was young, when I was that age or even younger, I remember I worked in an office, and I remember like my boss, who was my aunt, she said something like, "Hey, you have to like smile more, and like, even if it's fake, like you have." And I was like, "Girl, I'm not fake. I'm not trying to be fake." And then here I am now, a 36-year-old woman, and I'm like, if this bitch at the cashier doesn't smile at me when I come up, I will bug out. Like, so that's called immaturity. I just like all of this just clicked together right now. It's the immaturity and like not like knowing like you have to fake it and be like super extra nice to customers just because that's what they want. But like now everybody orders through an iPad.
And you can't do that with a pet. You've got
You
to go in.
can't.
You've got to talk to people.
Yeah. Although I will say, I have a Walmart Plus subscription, and there's a free app that they have called Pop, Pawp, and it's essentially like an online vet. Have you heard of this?
I haven't, but I've heard of telemedicine services where you can actually go online and talk to a vet or talk to a technician like
Mhm,
myself,
mhm.
where technicians don't deal with prescriptions or diagnosing or anything like that. But
Right.
there's lots of things we can help with, which is why I feel like I would be really useful, or my knowledge would be really useful.
100%.
But yeah, you can definitely do that. So I'm not sure if that's the kind of service you're talking about, but there are websites where you can go in and actually have an appointment with a vet
Mhm,
virtually.
mhm. I love that. That probably all came from COVID. I feel like all of this, I mean, obviously customer service and like being nice to people and understanding that people have anxiety going to any kind of medical facility. Like you could say like, "Oh, it's because COVID." So in research with you, Anna, we learned that you're by choice a single mom, and as me, a pretend relationship expert. Tell me what happened. You said one day, "I need a baby. Let's go get one or make one."
I wanted to avoid the big baby and have a little baby. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I did. I wanted a child without without the added attachment of a dad. It's something I was thinking about it, preparing for the podcast, and I was just kind
Mhm.
of, so I haven't thought of, my son's now 4.5, and I
Mm.
haven't thought about fertility stuff much. At one point it was my everyday thing.
Of
I mean,
course.
animals
Most
and
of your life.
veterinary things had been my everyday thing for 26 years since I started in clinics. And then fertility was for about many years, and you kind of forget about it when you're past that phase
Mhm.
a little bit. So I didn't really feel that I had this urge to be a mom yet, but I
Okay.
felt like I was going to run out of time because,
Mm.
of course, our bodies age, and what was I going to do with old eggs if I wanted to
Mhm.
have kids later? So I thought, when I was 36 and I still hadn't met anybody who I felt like I would want to have a child with, I thought,
Right.
let's look into maybe egg freezing, just something. And so
Yeah.
that snowballed, because then you do your research and you need a ton of eggs if you want some viable ones. And then I thought, okay, and I saw that freezing embryos is a lot more successful, but then
Mhm.
get some sperm. And I thought, I really want to avoid dealing with anybody that I know or I've dated. And
Right.
so then I went on the whole tangent of looking at how you get sperm in order to freeze embryos. And of course,
Yeah.
it comes with sperm donor data. Anyways, it just snowballed.
Was that part like a lot of pressure to find a donor that you wanted to have a baby with?
I felt like there was some pressure because it was new and I wanted to get things started. I was eager to get things started, but
Mhm.
I also started, I think, when I was about 36, 37. So
Mhm.
I still had some time. Of course, after like 35, they could consider you like fertility wise
Geriatric.
geriatric. Yeah, exactly. And so I thought, okay, me and my old eggs at 37, right?
Right.
But it was interesting because my fertility research also led me down the tangent of how you can improve your egg health when you're over 35, how you can change that. And so that put me into lifestyle changes and choices, which then snowballed in another direction and has been great for me health wise. But I thought it was a really interesting experience. I don't know if any of your listeners have any single mom by choices, but some people actually have a donor sperm selection party where they involve their friends and their family.
Listen.
Top fives. They have
Yes.
a party and everyone gives their input. I didn't
Yes.
do that, but I think that's really cool.
I specifically brought up the selection because on Vanderpump Rules, which is the weirdest show, there's a character. She's a real life person. It's a reality TV show. She had a party where they went through. So she had like her top whatever, and so she presented these candidates and their, the fact sheet that they get to the people, because she said, conceiving a baby with another person that you're in a relationship with is a celebratory like thing, and she wanted it to be the same excitement. And so that's why she had the party, because it was like supposed to be like, not like, oh, I have to do this because of XYZ. It's like, no, I'm choosing to do this because I don't want to deal with somebody like she and the girl in the show. Her name's Lala. She wanted the baby to be just hers because she's going through a custody thing with her. It's not even her ex-husband. It's this guy who's really famous. He's like a famous like director in Hollywood. She didn't want the drama of that. She's like, no, I want a baby that is just mine, that I don't have to give away at Christmas time sometimes and every other weekend and all the fucking bullshit. And so we're going to do this just me. And so she had a party, a celebratory little selection of the baby dad. But you didn't do that, but that's fine.
I didn't do that because I thought, you know what? I feel like there are some things that I would want to reserve for my child. At that point, I didn't really know. And, I had to make things fairly public in the sense that my workplace, because first of all, I needed to go to lots of appointments.
Right.
Because my job is very physical when I work in clinics, I needed people to be on board and to know. And of course, you have your egg retrieval, like you have all these big appointments, and it wasn't something that I could really or was interested in keeping secret.
Right.
So everybody knew every step. And, I worked with lots of younger girls, and they were so excited. Everyone was very supportive of me.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Not the experience of everybody that I've talked to, but I had a very, very positive experience. And I just wanted something to save for my son to be just his. So no one actually knows who the donor is or what he looks like. Aside from our donor sibling group, where we actually have a big group of others who have used the same donor. And
wow.
It's like a big donor family. They call them dibblings, donor siblings. And we have a big group and a Facebook group, and we share lots of videos and posts of, I think there's almost 20 kids right now that we.
What a guy.
That aspect too, but for me, I wanted at least one thing to be kept private. And so I wanted him to feel like, whether he will care or not, I don't know. But everything else about his, his conception and everything was very public. So I wanted some kind of privacy, something that was
That's
just
fine. Yeah. That's so nice. That is fascinating that there's a Facebook group of all his baby moms.
There's a lot of donors do that, and it's really interesting. Really, so all over the world, he's got half siblings everywhere.
Everywhere, like there are movies about this. Like there's movies about this exact thing of like people like finding out like who their dad is, and then finding out that they have like 50 siblings. In this case, your little has like 20. That's fantastic.
And that's a big thing in the donor conception world. Is I did my research, because obviously you want to prevent your kids from being as messed up as possible.
Yes.
But so what I did is I went on early onto some groups where it was adults who were donor conceived. I wanted to see what were their big gripes about their story.
Uh-huh.
And two of the big things that came out of that was that adults who find out as adults that they
Mhm.
were conceived are very upset that they essentially are missing part of their history and they weren't told, especially when they find out themselves.
Oh, like, without their parents telling them?
Yeah, so they were
Oh.
very upset about that. And the other thing was that they often felt like they missed out on a lot of time with their donor siblings. So that's why it was really important for me to have a donor who wasn't called an open ID, where at
Mhm.
18, the kids are allowed to contact the donor, the bank, and
Mhm.
get the contact information of the donor.
Right.
So there will be a chance for him to do that. And so it was really important for me that I keep in mind to keep everything very open and also to have access for him to connect and opportunities to connect with the other half siblings.
That's fantastic. Wow, that's I'm so glad I know this information. Like, that's so nice because I feel like siblings are, like, a big deal. You know what I mean? Especially if you grow up without any. It's like, "Oh my god, I have all these, like, friendships, people I share DNA with." Like, I have friends who, like, teeter, like, I have 2 friends that were adopted by their step-parents, but they have, like, no interest in seeing if their, like, biological dad, like, has any kids and wanting to be friends with them. But then there are people who are like, "No, no, 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 no. I want all the family. Give me it."
Yeah, and I'm not planning on having any more of my own, so I thought, this would be a great way for him to have the
Yeah, of
family and siblings. I mean, I do plan on getting married at some point, and I
course.
hope that
Not
it's
of
someone
course.
who has kids already, which I think would be
Uh-huh.
great. Same similar situation as you, someone who
Yeah.
has kids potentially, older,
Mhm.
and so I'll
Oh,
be
that would
a
be
stepmom with a child at some point.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, if you get somebody that has kids that are older, then being a stepmom is a weird thing, but you can still parent your child without having to feel like you're also parenting the other person's children, which is, like, weird because like, I have a niece, but, like, I always imagine, like, if I'm hanging out with my niece and my essentially my granddaughter, and I have to, like, discipline one of them, like, am I gonna feel weird about the other one even just like, well, I don't know. The whole thing is weird. But just on the note of step parenting. So yesterday, not yesterday. The other day, we on the weekends we have my younger stepson, my husband's younger son who's 21 and he's on the spectrum and so he says weird things sometimes and very honest things most times. And so backstory, we went on vacation. Have family I have family in Massachusetts who he's really close with. And our grandma recently in the last 2 years died, and so there's some of us that are still grieving, and so he asked somebody in my family, "How do you feel about Mother's Day?" or something. I don't know why they were talking about this, but I overheard this, and she said, "I really don't like Mother's Day because I don't have a mom, and so Mother's Day is, like, not really my jam." And he was like, "Okay." So I know that he has had Mother's Day on the brain. So fast forward to this weekend, he said, "Hey, Erica, do you like Mother's Day?" And I was like, "I mean, like, it's okay. Like, I see my mom frequent enough that it's not like, oh, here's a special thing." You know what I mean? Like, I hang out with her. So, like, it's not like, oh, it's Mother's Day, so I have to come I see her. I see her all the time. We exchange, oh, I saw this at the store. You know what I mean? Like, we exchange gifts. Anyways. And she, like, worked on Mother's Day, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, and so I said, "It's not really a big deal for me because, like, I don't get Mother's Day gifts and I see my mom all the time." And he said, "Oh, he said, "Why don't you get Mother's Day gifts?" And I was like, because you don't get me a gift." And he goes, "Oh, well, probably because 'cause you're not a mom."
Did that
So,
sting a little bit, or how did you feel?
oh my god, are you kidding me? Like, broke me in half. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Aw.
It was obviously it wasn't awkward. I don't think it was awkward. I think, like, I was in the middle of doing something, and so, you recover by continuing. I think I was, like, giving him food. I was like, "Here you go, bye." As I have to feed you because I'm your stepmom, and who else is gonna feed you? And so he doesn't get it, you know what I mean? Like, with the autistic brain and, like, he knows things in black and white, and, like, a mom is somebody who I grew up with and is my mom, and a dad is, you know what I mean? The same thing, and so he doesn't recognize, like, step parenting as another person who pays for you and feeds you and takes care of you when you're with them and treats you like their kid. He doesn't know that. He's like, a step parent is someone who's married to your parent.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, ugh, it stung. It hurt me
Yeah.
right in the feels.
And the stories in your podcast episodes, because I have listened to actually quite a few episodes, and it's something that I will need to start thinking about more and more. So the stories that you share with your guests have been really
Mhm,
helpful, because I never really thought of those things. I mean, I've dated guys who've had kids, but
mhm,
it was never anything serious to
mhm.
where I would come remotely close to even being a parental role.
Right, you were just there as a
Mhm.
guest.
Yeah,
Are you actively dating right now?
not right now.
Have you actively dated since your son was born?
No, I've
Oh,
just
gee.
it's been a while. But I really haven't felt like I had the time, because I
Mhm,
mean, kids physically suck the life out of you when they're younger, and now
mhm,
that he's a bit more independent, now they emotionally suck the life out of you, because now you're dealing
mm.
with things. He's able to do more for himself, but there's more emotional and energy aspect that goes into
Yeah, and,
doing.
like, molding him, like, helping him make decisions and stuff.
Oh, and not to, for me to keep my cool and not lose my shit, and, keep myself regulated, and,
Mhm,
that sort of a thing. Yeah, so I haven't really had much of an opportunity to think about it, but lately
mhm.
it's come up.
Yeah.
He's into sports, and, and I'm not athletic at all. So for me, I'm trying my best, but I'm thinking, this poor kid, wish it'll be so great for him to have someone to play, to play sports with, and even just
Mhm.
all around, because mom's
Yeah.
not really cutting it anymore.
Yeah, I hear, when dads talk about being dads, they're like, "I know that my role is the one that has to, like, wrestle them before bed so that they can, like, release that." Like, I'm, like, the physical part of their upbringing, like, physically fighting them and playing and doing all of the things to let out all of those, I don't know, the daily energy. I mean, not necessarily, not saying like a mom can't, roughhouse with her kids, but like there's a level of like roughhousing in sports and like physical exertion that like dads just take the responsibility of. And for a
100%.
mom, it's like, cool, thanks. Yeah, do it. Get it out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're cut out to be their playmates, and it's more and more obvious to me, because now he wants to do those things. He's a pretty chill kid, so he's not active, but he
Mhm,
prefers doing puzzles, and so he's like a pretty tame child, I would say, for a boy.
mhm, mhm.
But now he's getting more and more active, and men are the playmates. They're there
Yeah.
for the physical things, like you said, and moms are there to take care of them and nurture. And having
Mhm.
to do both now, I'm just realizing, like, wow, you know,
You have a
keep eating
village.
this.
Right. Do you think you have a village? Like, when you started this IVF journey, you did a lot of research from what you've said. Do you have family and, like, friends that, like, help you out, or, like, you got this by yourself?
Both. So I really went into this not having the expectation of having a huge village or a ton of
Mhm.
support, because, funny enough, my parents lived for many years in Massachusetts.
Hey.
And yeah, so whenever you guys reference, so I'm like, I've been there before. So they lived in Methuen for a long
Stop!
time. So
That's the
yeah,
town next to where I'm from.
yeah.
I lived in the ghetto next to that.
Yes, and I've been there many times.
Oh,
So
hey,
whenever you
cousin.
guys reference New England, I'm like, I know exactly what they're talking about. So that was really cool for me to hear on your episodes from first season. But my
Cool.
parents moved down to Florida, so they're really not there. And my sister was living near me, but then I decided to move.
Mhm,
And so I do have a village. It's very small, but I
mhm.
find I have what I need. It would be nice to have more, but it's
Yeah.
definitely you definitely need more help than you anticipate. Let's put it that way. So people that are thinking of this journey, it's really nice to have others around you,
Mhm,
and then go into it expecting to do it all yourself. And then when you get
mhm.
help, then it's a really big bonus. That's kind of how
Yeah.
I look at it.
When you went back to work, I'm assuming you went back to work after you had him. Was he, like, in daycare?
Yeah, I waited until he was about 15 months, and
Uh-huh.
then I went back about a month later.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we did daycare. We did
Yeah.
daycare. And it was pretty rough because it was during COVID, so I never actually saw the inside of the daycare. I had to
Wow.
hand this little child off at the gate
Oh my
and
goodness.
just
With
hope.
somebody whose face you can't even see because they're wearing a mask.
Exactly. So
Oh
that
my
was a
God.
little rough, but it was one of those things where I knew I just needed to do it and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be fine. Yeah, but it just, yeah,
Wow.
it makes you kind of feel sick to your stomach. The first couple, I actually went and had a massage the first day. I was like, I dropped him off and I went and had a massage.
Yeah.
I
I
was
mean,
ready
it's,
for a mental breakdown.
yeah, a year and a couple months, and then plus all of the IVF before that. Oh my God, the best break day ever.
Yeah, you kind of need to latch on to those self-care opportunities. I think just in
Mhm.
general. I mean, whether you are a mom or a stepmom, if you have kids around, you need to really use your
Yes,
time wisely and take advantage of it when you have the time.
100%. What kind of self-care things are you doing now with the 4-year-old?
When I drop him off at school, because he's little, but he goes to a Montessori
Mhm.
school. So he's been
Love
technically
that.
going to school since he was not even 3 years old.
Mhm.
And fantastic programs, by the way. Anybody that can do that sort of
Yeah.
alternative, I highly recommend. The 4.5 he's reading, and not anything that I can take credit for either. So I mean,
Right.
it's
There's one around the corner from where I live, and every time I drive by it, I'm like, "If it happens, I'm saving my pennies because 'cause you're going there."
huge. I think huge benefit, just
Mhm.
in every aspect, the kind of support that you get. And I mean, he has between, depending on the time of year, he has anywhere between 9 and 12 kids in his class with two
Mhm.
teachers. So I mean, the ratio is just unmatched.
Yeah,
I will drop him off and often go down to the waterfront for a walk.
I love
So
that.
that's kind of, I need, and my morning tea. If I don't get my morning tea, I'm very grumpy. And
No.
sometimes I have to delay it until after school drop off. But just those little things
Mhm.
where you can just have a moment to yourself, whether that's with other people, that's how you kind of relax, or whether it's by yourself. I think you just got to
Mhm.
grab those.
Yeah, no,
Get
that's
some time in
fantastic.
nature.
Yeah. Oh, well, nature and alone time, like, I mean, alone time just in general. I feel like I only have my stepkid on Friday night, Saturday, and breakfast on Sunday, and I'm like, "I need alone time." 'Cause it's, like, I mean, not that I have a strenuous job, like, yes, I have to, like, use my brain really hard at work, but, like, compared to other jobs that I've had, it's not. Um, but, like, even during the week, I'm like, "I don't have time to relax during the week." It's very go, go, go. I don't know if you listened to the episode about how our lives have changed since not working in a store, but it's like, you have to come home and, like, cook a whole dinner. Like, you have time to cook a whole dinner. And then it's, like, laundry things, and then because on the weekend, like, you have a person to take care to entertain. I have to entertain a whole ass human.
While you're
And
trying to do things at the same
while
time. It's like multitasking on
Yes.
steroids,
It's
really.
like, I wanna entertain you because I want you to have a nice time at dad's house, but also this laundry needs to get done and folded and put away at some point. This trash, these boxes, these Amazon boxes need to get broken down. These dishes need to go, and so, like, my husband is takes care of most of the things, but, it's not, like, me doing it, and so it's, there are things that, like, just specifically I need to do because this is how I want it done. And so, to your point of not having a big baby, good for you, girl. You're cleaning up after your own self and your little baby, not another whole ass human, and they're human. And so, we love that for you.
Thank you. And the big thing with that too is there's no pressure for me to find the right person. That was my
Yeah.
big thing too,
Right.
is, as I was nearing 40, I thought, oh my gosh, what, you got to meet somebody, and then and then you're essentially stuck. If you have a baby, you're stuck with them for the rest of your life. How do you decide
Mhm.
a year or two if that person you want
Yeah.
to be associated with forever? And I thought,
Yeah.
no, no. And this way I can take, I mean, obviously it would be nice to have a relationship at some point, but
Mhm.
for the companionship and the support and all the good things that come with a relationship, but I'm not having to settle or be in a situation where I just got to pick or be happy with what I have. I can actually take the time, feel like I'm ready and healthy and
Mhm.
had enough therapy and
Right.
all those things so that I'm a good person for a partnership and there's no rush. So that for me
Right.
is a big bonus.
I love that. I love this whole situation. You can literally just have a relationship for the sake of the relationship and then keep the relationship just because you want it. Me and my husband say that all the time, like, I want him in my life. Like, I want it. It's not like, "Oh, we're married, so I have to. We have kids, so I have to." Like, "No, no, no. I want you here. That's why we're married, because this is what I want." And obviously, he wants me back, you know what I mean? It's not a one-way street. But, yeah, that's wonderful. I love you are a well-adjusted adult Miss Anna girl.
Thank you.
Oh,
It's
we'd love
it's
to hear
taken
it.
a lot of self-improvement and
Uh-huh.
continuous, I think,
Mhm.
self-discovery. But when you have kids, let me tell you, you better get your shit together real quick because wow,
Yeah.
it's hard. So
Listen, I'm not trying to, like, make an announcement on or anything, but, like, I'm pretty sure that me and Matt are not gonna have kids. At this point, I'm 36 and he's 48. We've tried without doing any dramatic medical things, like, after testing and stuff. We've tried to do it, I guess the old-fashioned way, I guess, and still, tracking and timing and all of the things. But I'm old now, and there are too many memes that say people say you can't do the same things that you did when you didn't have kids. You can still do them, they're just ruined. And I
well, that doesn't really make you want to have one, does it? But I mean, I
it
was
doesn't.
39 when I had him, so I mean,
Things can
there's still
change.
time if that's something that, and there's two of you. You have the support. You have a great
Yeah.
husband. It's if I can do it by myself, and I
Right.
feel tired a lot of the time,
Mhm.
but I mean, I'm 44 this summer, and I don't want to be running around after him. But you do it. But there's ways around it. And with you having a husband who I'm very sure would be very involved and
Mhm.
their
Oh, for sure.
siblings, I think that's something that would be ideal.
Mhm.
All of the interventions sometimes are a little bit strange, but
Yeah.
and sometimes needed, because the one thing that I discovered that I actually was very surprised by was how much actually is involved into getting pregnant naturally and how little chance there is each month that somebody gets pregnant. I
Yeah.
mean, with me at 37, with tablets and monitoring with ultrasound, so this
Mhm.
was for IVF, my chances of, and with doing an IUI, which is where they do the intrauterine insemination. So they're taking the sperm and
Mhm.
bypassing everything and putting it directly in your uterus. My
Right.
chances still with all of that intervention was, I think, between 9 and 11% each month.
Yeah.
So that's why I did a couple of those, and I thought, I'm dropping about $1,600 a month on all of these procedures.
Bruh.
The sperm, good. I mean, yeah, at least you have free sperm. You wouldn't have to buy it. um, it was getting, so that's why I jumped to IVF. I fertility wise, I didn't have any issues,
Yeah.
but it just didn't make sense to keep trying with that percentage.
So, IVF is when they make the embryo and then they put the embryo inside you?
Yeah.
Yo, science is crazy.
You should have seen the needle they used for the egg collection. I was awake for it. It was
Do you
really
have to be? Like, that's how they
no,
do it?
no. You can be like I had someone I knew who was very sensitive and had some medical PTSD, and so she actually did it at the hospital where they fully anesthetized her. I
Mhm.
had what do they call it? Twilight sedation or something.
Mhm.
It's like midazolam and Valium. You're still awake, but you're kind of out of it. Let me tell you, I felt like I
Mm.
was sitting like right now. I literally
Yeah.
was. I didn't feel any pain.
Oh my god.
and I was supposedly sedated. I felt completely awake, and I watched them. And when they realized I was like fully aware and interested, they turned the screen. So I actually watched this gigantic needle that they put in for the egg collection, and I saw what they were doing with the ultrasound. It was, I mean, I'm a medical person, so
I was just gonna say, girl, you're a medical girly.
So when you see that needle come out, you're like, you're putting that where? So there's some interesting aspects to it. But you know, these days they have so many options for you to make sure that you're comfortable and that things go well, and that you're not left completely traumatized. That I actually found it to be a pretty smooth procedure and process for me. Yeah.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Absolutely. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
I love that. I noticed you have an accent, and I was gonna say Canada, but where are you from, girl?
So I'm originally actually Hungarian. I lived in Hungary for 8 years, in Germany for 2 years, and then my parents immigrated here. So I don't have an accent. I was one of the lucky people who came kind of at the time where I didn't have an accent. I think usually if you learn a language between like 10 and 12-ish, it's a high chance that you'll have an accent. But yes, we immigrated to London, Ontario, Canada, and I'm still in Ontario now. So yes, Canadian accent.
When I tell you, I'm impressed with myself every time I guess an accent.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
Yo, I did see that you have some followers. You're doing things. You're going to be posting your first episode, you said earlier, right?
Yes, I did my first YouTube video, which was really just nerve-wracking.
But you did it!
Oh, it's taken me a long time to get the courage up. And the podcast was actually easier because I'm like, I can just talk more normally. My face is, talking to you is a breeze. Talking into just the computer, I feel so awkward and weird. So doing the podcast episode that was audio only was really fun. I really enjoyed that. So
that's awesome.
I'm loving this, and I can't wait to get more into it. And so I'm not sure how things changed for you as you guys started the podcast up, but for me, I just really enjoyed even the first episode, and I can't wait to do more.
I love that. I can't wait to listen, because all of the things and your whole mission, you're talking exactly to me. It's like you're looking at me square in the face and you're like, Erica, I know you're afraid to go to the vet, but I'm here to help you and support you. Like you're talking to me yourself.
Aww.
And I feel like if there's one thing I learned from this podcast, it's that I'm a relatable girly. And everybody pretty much is like, oh my God, same. And so I think things are going to work out for you, Anna. I really, really do, with your YouTube, with your website, with the whole thing that you're doing with Vet Tech, Anna. And I'm excited. I'm excited to watch because I'm a follower.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me. How cute is Anna?
So cute. Oh my God.
Don't talk like that. That's for me, not for you.
Oh, you want to start over then?
No.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
So Anna's so fun. How about just the database? Oh, not the database. The Facebook group for all of her.
Oh, all of the children
kids.
of the what was the word?
Diblings?
Donor siblings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of fascinating.
So I kept thinking of a movie, and obviously I did no research for this little fucking fact check. There are movies and TV shows like about wanting to know who your biological parents are. And they just make it so easy for these kids these days because their parents are in a Facebook group this whole time. I just love that for her.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my God, are you looking up?
Well,
Delivery Man with Vince Vaughn?
I don't think this is the movie that you were thinking of.
It's not.
But the synopsis is: an affable underachiever finds out he's fathered 533 children through anonymous donations to a fertility clinic 20 years ago. Now he must decide whether or not to come forward when 142 of them file a lawsuit to reveal his identity.
I feel like that's
That's not the movie that you were...
That's not the movie, but I feel like I probably saw this movie because it's 2013, and I'm pretty sure I saw every movie that came out in 2013. Also,
especially with Vince Vaughn in it.
Also, it's Vince Vaughn, and he's a tall glass of water.
I didn't need to know that.
Oh, ooh. So can we just real quick, just a sidebar, talk about Cousin's Day?
Oh, well, yeah. Cousin's Day was a whole bunch of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. I bring this up to you guys because we did an episode talking about Matt and his family and his little origin story. And we talked about how he went to a funeral and then how he has all these cousins. And I'm like, you're related to mad people you don't even talk to. And then so one of the cousins listened to that episode. And we have since organized a little day.
We have not only organized it, we executed it.
Right.
It happened.
So we hung out with one of Matt's cousins, and so she had 3 of her siblings there.
Yes.
And so we
my mother and my sister were there.
Yes. And it was cute. Obviously, the point of it was also for the younger generation to get to know these people so that Matt Jr., like when you die, like he's not going to really have a lot of people, but he has all these cousins.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to ensure that the kids have cousins and friends.
I understand, and it was...
but it was cute. It was nice to get to know her kids. They're so cute. Young people, guys. Young people. You guys know I love a young person. Young people are so cool.
Well, those were.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, no, those kids were very well-spoken, intelligent. New things that were outside of their generation. And appreciated, like the one kid was walking around with an Alice in Chains t-shirt on.
Right. And I could also tell that it was a woman's shirt because of how short it is.
I think, now see, here's the thing. I recognized it immediately. Concert t-shirts and band t-shirts, the knockoffs, like I hate to say it, the Chinese knockoffs.
Yeah.
They shrink like that.
Yeah.
In the wash.
So
like as soon as you wash them, that's what they turn into.
Right. But I thought that was so cool, and everybody's just quirky. I remember saying this in that episode, like everybody like who spoke was like a performer, and like everybody just had cool stories and just like had funny things to say. So it's not just like the context and it's interesting. It's just the way that these people were telling stories. I was like, I want to learn how to talk like you. Like just super compelling. Even he was talking about like he works at a coffee shop and he's had coffee like twice in his life. Like just the whole story he was telling about work. I was like, say more words because you're performing right now. And the girl's in Scouts and she just came home from camping in Rhode Island for a week. And she said something and she's like, I don't know. They were just mostly talking at us and then they had us do this. And that observation of being talked at a summer camp, I was like, okay, girl. But it was very fun, and I'm happy to have more friends that are your cousins.
Yeah, and we talked about planning another. And
they said, when are you available? And I said, September, which was a weird thing to say because my September's actually filling up. And I think we only have like one weekend available.
Well, there you go.
But so September's
now we have none.
Busy.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun September.
Yeah, I'll do it every month if they want me to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totes.
What else is happening?
So I had all this stuff in my head that I was going to kind of bring up.
Okay.
Yeah. But then I realized that you hate production talk.
Oh, sure do, buckaroo.
So...
so you're going to say it anyway?
Yeah. That's what I do. Knowing that you don't want to hear it.
Okay.
Well, what I was going to say is this was your first interview with... somebody that you haven't met before.
Right. Yes.
It's not in your circle.
So like elephant in the room. I don't know this girl. I just met her on the internet on a networking like Facebook page. Actually, Matt met her, and then so he introduced us.
Yeah, I mean that's the benefits of having like a shared hobby.
Right.
We both get to execute the way we want to.
Yeah.
But we get to collaborate on different aspects.
Yeah, we met her through this networking thing. It's like a find a guest, be a guest vibe. So she wants to be a guest on podcasts because she's trying to advertise her new business, which I think is so cool. She's also looking for guests because she wants to do YouTube videos with people, you know, to talk about her business and stuff like that. And so I think it's so cute. I hope you guys visit her. I didn't mention it in the intro because I think I forgot, but she has a YouTube channel as well. That's where she's going to be doing like her kind of podcasty things that I also think I forgot to mention in the intro. But she's doing a lot on YouTube. I know that she had like an intro video up, and I haven't followed up since then, but I totally will, and you guys can do it with me. But she makes it very easy. Vet Tech Anna is where she is on every social platform that there is.
I was very satisfied when you guessed her to be from Canada. Because...
Can you believe?
Yes, I can. Because the whole time I'm listening to it, I'm like, this lady's from Canada.
It was when she says about.
Yeah. And oot and all that. Yeah. And I love Canadian television. Like, I'm familiar with the Canadian accent.
I have so much family in Canada. I didn't mention that, but off air we were talking about how I have family in Canada and I like love it. But she comes to America all the time. She goes to Michigan.
She goes to the Merrimack Valley too.
Well, no, that's where her family's from. But no, she goes to Michigan like to go shopping. She was saying
a lot of Canadians do that.
Like when she's off, she'll drop off the baby at school and then she'll like go out to go shopping. That she goes to TJ Maxx and Home Goods, like right across the border. And I'm just like, every time I've crossed the Canadian-American border, it's taken like hours. So I don't know what part of Michigan, Canada she's in, but it's not taking very long to cross the border.
Oh, no, dude, there's... Michigan's right there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those where if they get to know you, you know what I mean?
She says
and it's different when you're Canadian, too.
I imagine... So that's what I forget what our conversation was, but I imagined that... She said that there wasn't like a line. She's like, no, it's just, you know, sometimes
it's like paying a toll.
Yeah, but it's just like, you just go real quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, girl. So we love that for her, too. Like, that's just such an American. Like, all of the guests that I've had that are... Both of the guests that I've had that are not American, I'm like, wow, it's just cool that you're not American. Like, we love an international. Or is it me?
I think it's you. Yeah.
Oh, I hope you guys love an international with me.
But yeah, that's also one of the few interviews you've done where you guys aren't just talking over each other all the time. And
yeah, it was a slow start.
That was another dead giveaway that she was from Canada because I figured it out. She was waiting for you to stop.
Yeah,
so she could start.
She was polite.
She was very polite, and she was interesting. Even the stuff that came out was wildly interesting. Yeah. But I think it was a great interview.
Thanks.
You're welcome,
guys. I hope you love it. That's all we have today. Love you, mean it.
Bye.